Hi everyone, the Lone Wolf here, and welcome back to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. And as you can see, I've changed the layout a little bit, just to try and see if I can make this look a little different, a little better maybe. Yeah, let's head over to the couch and take a look at the market in EVE Online. So here we go. Here comes the couch. And let's have a look at what's happening in EVE Online. We'll jump straight into plex at around 35 seconds. Write that down. And here we go, current prices for the plexes. Let me see here. And for the buyers, 773 million. For the sellers, 788 million. And just 5 minutes ago, when I checked the price for the bar at the bottom, there were actually a couple of plex that were for sale for 785. It was 6 of them, and they're already bought, so that doesn't last very long. Let's have a look here at the 6-month chart. Then, obviously, we're on a sustained uptrend. The latest leg up towards 800 million is quite significant, and that went pretty damn fast. And once it hit 800 million, it actually corrected back now towards 785, 787, something like that. So while plexes are up, they're already down from their high that was yesterday. What's happening in the plex market? I think part of this is starting to have some bubble aspects to it. This is just way too fast. Let's have a look here at the 1 month chart. In 1 month, going from 730 to almost 800 million. That's yeah, 80 million increase in price, more than 10%, or close to 10%. That's just way too much. That's not normal inflation or normal a normal increase that you would expect from merely the fundamentals. So at the moment there's just an enormous amount of ISK that's going into the plexes, and this is causing the price to go up. I guess part of it is just that people have see plexes going up for a year straight, and now just like in the real market, they think that this is like a good investment. I have to say, at the moment I disagree with this. If you didn't buy them below 750 but close to 800 here, you're really starting to be in a danger zone. Keep in mind, this is an opinion, this is not anything that I can guarantee, but we're just too close to the cryos release, and I'm actually kind of confident that there are way better investments out there if you want to make profit with your ISK. But yeah, this is the state of plex, you know, close to 800 million at the moment. That's probably close to an all-time high that it reached yesterday, and now just correcting back off of that well, extremely high price. This is the 1 year chart, by the way, starting below 550 million and ending up at 800 million. That's obviously a lot higher in inflation than what you would expect, or than what you would have in the game normally. Let's move on then to minerals, and we're looking at 325 for that. Let's have a look here at what titanium has been doing. So maybe the 1 month chart here is a little bit more significant, starting at 615 pretty much, ending at 615 for the 20-day moving average. On the 5-day moving average though, coming from 635 down below 610, so it did break that. Current prices for the sellers 612, for the buyers 607, so a very small margin. Supply demand, let's have a look at that. 1.3 billion units being bought here, almost a billion being bought here. The rest maybe 300, or I would say 200 to 500 million. On the sellers here, 500 million, 1.7 billion for 614. So all of this is actually quite doable. 500 million as well. Yeah, feels like this is much more imbalanced than what we've seen in the last few weeks. So I think it's normal that titanium is correcting a little bit. It's just nothing too drastic just yet. Above 6 ISK is still a pretty good price for titanium, especially if we go for like the 6-month chart. You can see that if it can hold above 6 ISK, it's actually still pretty high, considering where it comes from 6 months ago at around 4.8 ISK. Next up, let's have a look at pyrite then. 1140 for the buyers, 1146 for the sellers. Again, very small margin. Supply demand situation, 400 million, 400 million, still 200 million here, 151 million here, 150 here as well. 1.5 billion units of pyrite being sold for 11.50, so it's not that this is an unreasonable price either. Again, this feels pretty much balanced. In fact, if you equate these 1.5 billion for 500 million here, 400 million here, and 300 million here, yeah, it looks pretty much balanced. So if you look at the pyrite chart on 6 months here, it's definitely going back down here. And on the 1 month chart, just to see what the movement in the last few weeks has been, well, it's been trying to hold 11.4 ISK. So the 20-day moving average is of course coming down from a higher price point. But yeah, 11.4, it does seem to try to defend this price point. And 11.46, 11.40 for the buyers does seem to be what the market is prepared to pay for it. And as I've said, supply demand seems to be quite alright. Next up, Mexalon then, 48.51, 49 for the sellers. That's not so bad. It went down to close to 48 ISK, but it's already picking back up a little bit. Still overall on a 1 month chart, 48.8 to 48.6, so that's pretty much a flat chart. Let's have a look at supply demand here. 3120 million, yeah, 250 million, but the rest of that is starting to be a little bit smaller. So I'd say there is still more demand than supply for Mexalon. When you compare that to pyrite and titanium that have become pretty much balanced, this is pretty obvious here. 50 million, 80 million, again, these are bigger orders than what we're seeing on the supply side, and of course that's why this one Mexalon has been able to keep its price up in the last few weeks, whereas titanium and pyrite are correcting just a little bit. So yeah, it's actually looking quite okay, but honestly I think that this will also evolve towards a more balanced market, and that we should not expect any major upswings or downturns at the moment in the mineral market. Let's have a look at isogen then, the final one that we can really classify as a high-sec mineral. 124.55 for the buyers, 126 for the sellers. If you go for the 6 month chart, also a serious correction similar to pyrite, pretty much where it started 6 months ago at 126. We can see at the tail end though that things have stabilized quite a little bit. And if we go over here for the 1 month chart, indeed, it did come down from 134 to 126, but you can see in the last few weeks it's been able to maintain the price close to that, so looking quite a lot more stable. Let's have a look at supply demand. 11 million units coming in, 15 million is a big order here. Then down here we have 40 and 15 million, but again 30, 24, 10. So again here much more imbalance than what we had just a few weeks and months ago. So this price spike that we see here on the 6 month chart towards 140 ISK for isogen was when there was a serious lack of supply or a serious increase in demand for isogen. Right now the situation is much more balanced, so we're more towards the situation that we had 6 months ago, where the price is holding steady at around 126. I would say maybe the 125 to 130 ISK mark. So yeah, the high-sec mineral market has definitely cooled down. Let's move on then to yeah, the in-between one, Noxium. You know, you can get that from high-sec, but you can also, I think most of this comes from null-sec. So this is a serious correction on the 6 month chart, coming from 740 and it's now down to 660 ISK. Let's have a look at supply demand here. 4 million, 6 million, 10 million, 10 million. So yeah, I am seeing more supply than demand here, especially on the short-term stuff. This is a big order, but that's already a little bit older at 645. Let's have a quick look at the 1 month chart, because this is clearly still on a downtrend from 740 towards 660. And if you look at this at this situation where you have clearly a good supply, if you look at the 6 month chart here, where we actually started 6 months ago at 700 ISK, we're already down to 660. If you're looking for a better investment than Plex, in my opinion, well, just take a look at Noxium right here. It's a clear trend way down. It seems pretty low. Maybe a 1 year chart can tell us a little bit more here as well. Yeah, it's pretty much close to the all-time low on the 1 year chart as well. And if you see where it came from, 860, and here 760, and now you can again invest close to the bottom. So in my opinion, yeah, Noxium pretty damn interesting. let's go back to the 1 month chart and let's have a look at Zydrine then, another nullsec stuff. Clearly down as well, from 670 down to 600 ISK. Supply demand's pretty hard to say here, except, well, yeah, look at that, 1.6 million, almost 5 million coming in. Again here, 4 million. People are dumping their stocks at the moment. Compared that to the numbers for demand, it's just way lower than this. Pretty interesting. And so on the 1 month chart, clearly down. Let's have a look at the 6 month chart here as well. Well, pretty low as well on 6 months, coming from a high of 760, then holding on at 720, and now way down at yeah, close to the 600 ISK mark. So have a look at the 1 year chart. Again, it did reach 580 as its bottom, then it spiked up towards 800, managed to hold down in, I would say, the 700 to 800 band for quite a little bit, and now it's correcting back towards 600. So again, coming closer to yeah, investment worthy territory in my opinion. And let's maybe have a look as well, go back to the 1 month chart and do the same for Megasite, which is also pretty interesting here, clearly coming down as well. 1480 for the 5-day moving average, 1520 for the 20-day moving average, and both of them are coming towards 1400. In fact, 5-day moving average even below that, closer to 1380. Market prices, 1340 for the buyers, 1393 for the sellers. Here you can see another 2 million coming in. Here 5 million on this buy order side. I would actually put this as being pretty much equal to this 2 million, because it's mostly the sellers that do dictate the price of Megasite, and a buy order like this, although it's pretty damn recent at 1340, it's just an opportunistic buy order, because as you can see from the normal prices that you do see, 1350 is way below the chart, so it is really the sell orders that are dictating the price. We're still seeing decent supply coming in here, 2 million units pretty recently, at a competitive price. That's quite alright. So I do think that Megasite is on a trend here. Let's have a look at the 6 month chart then. Coming from, well, plateauing at 1600 for quite a little bit, and now at 1400. That's not an insignificant correction. And for the 1 year chart, coming from more than 2000 ISK down to 1400. On a 1 year chart, this is the exact opposite of plex, and so this could be indicative of a plex bubble if you imagine it this way. At the moment, there's huge amounts of ISK that are just all funneled to the plex markets, bidding up the price continuously and continuously. This has, of course, this means that in other parts of the economy, less plex goes there, and so Megasite is actually going down here in price. Same with Zydrine, and it does look to me like, yeah, like maybe some of the nullsec minerals have become the victims of the success of plexes. And honestly, I'm considering investing a little bit in this. Let's have a look finally at Morphite here. We're seeing a similar chart on the 1 year. For the 1 month chart, again 6,700 back down to 5,900, not insignificant for a 1 month movement. On the 6 month chart here, you can clearly see coming from 7,400 ISK, so it has corrected quite a little bit. And then on the 1 year chart, from a top of 9,000 close, at the moment we're seeing prices of 6,000, so that's 1/3 down. Yeah, that's not insignificant. Is the supply here? Well, it's not that much anymore. You can see that the numbers have cooled down quite a little bit, but whatever you can snag up here does seem to be, in my opinion, pretty damn good. So yeah, interesting mineral market, especially the nullsec one. I think how it completely mirrors, it's the exact opposite of what plexes have been doing. So for general inflation and deflation in the economy, there's obvious deflation in the nullsec minerals, huge inflation in plexes. Maybe, yeah, this is another indication of a bubble situation for plexes, in my opinion. Yeah, let's move on to Tech One chips. Let's have a look at what's been happening here as a response to this, and I'm writing down 1430 for that. Let's start up with the Drake 1 month chart. Pretty much a stable situation, starting at 48.5 million, ending up at 47.5 million. That's really nothing to write home about. 45 for the buyers, 47.2 for the sellers. Very small margin, well supplied market here, 25 coming in. at a competitive price here, 13 being bought, 5 being bought, 5 being bought, so there may even be a little bit of an oversupply situation at the moment, but it's nothing too drastic. This looks like a healthy, stable market. Let's have a look at the Maelstrom chart here, coming down from 206, went towards 184, and now it's back at 190, which I think is a normal price. If you go for a 6-month chart, you can see that this correction was a part of a big spike towards 210, and so what happened there was that supply dried up a little bit, prices went up, people saw this as an opportunity, and so they came back in with a little bit of supply, and currently we're still looking at not that much supply, 201 for the sellers, 182 for the buyers. So yeah, this could actually take off just a little bit, closer towards the 200 million. But honestly, if Maelstroms are between like 190 and 200, it's their normal price, and so yeah, supply is a little bit low, so maybe this will go up towards 200 million, but I do think once it does, that supply will once again come back. So next up, let's have a look at the Omen here. Yeah, this is obviously a flat chart with maybe a very small downward trend here because of an oversupply situation, but going from 10.7 to 10.5 million, that's a flat price, and supply 8, 13, 17, 14, it's not an oversupply situation, I would say. If you look at buyers of 163 coming in at 10 million, a very small margin in between these two, and yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that the buy orders are completely gone here, but this is again pretty much a stable market. Let's have a look at the ROC then, correcting from 205, went down to 197, back up to 203, and then again to 197. Keep in mind, we're talking at its biggest a 10 million difference on a 200 million battleship. So overall, this is still decently stable. The trend is down just a little bit, but just like with the Maelstrom, if I'm not mistaken, we are talking a little bit of a spike here towards 210. So this is a correct and a healthy correction for the ROC here as well. And if I go for supply demand here, 1411, 1116, so all of this is again indication of a pretty stable market. Let's have a look at the Talos here. Maybe oversupplied just a little bit because I'm seeing bigger numbers here at the top, sell orders than buy orders, but 69 to 74 million, that's pretty much stable as well. If I go for the 1 month chart, well, it went from 75 towards 71, 72 now, so it's down a little bit because there is a little bit more supply than demand, which is normal considering what's coming in cryos, but overall, if the Tech 1 market is any indication of real inflation, maybe because that gets actually used up, blown up, brought back to the market through production again, then we're looking at pretty much a stable situation. And so yeah, both plexes and the correction in those minerals might just be a little bit of anomalies that are indications of just a huge amount of ISK going to the plex market, because to me this Tech 1 market feels pretty much stable, normal, well supplied, nothing dramatic to report here. Let's move on to the Tech 2 market. I'm writing down 1825 for that. The Tech 2 market is to me not an indication of the general situation for EVE Online economy. It's more of trade opportunities. On a 6-month chart you can see some nice little spikes here in the absolution. Unfortunately, it's still holding on well above 250, so I would not invest in absolution, as I would try to sell them if I had them. Next up, the Astarte here, also holding on pretty damn high, close to 240, close to 240, so again still in the sell order territory. Let's have a look here at the Claymore again. Look at that nice spike. You know, you could have bought Claymores below 210 for quite a while, spiked up to 260, and now it's holding quite nicely at around the 250 million. That's a nice 40 million jump that was a matter of days or even a week maximum, and then it was way up there. So these spikes is why I like the Tech 2 market for trade opportunities. Next up, we have the Damnation, also coming off a nice spike from 220 to 280. It's correcting back towards 240 right here. It actually went down pretty dramatically at the tail end, coming back just a little bit, people still taking the opportunity. I would not invest in it just yet. It would need to be below 230 for me to call it investment worthy, but you can see this big spike down here from 260 to 240, a little bit coming back, but I think that we'll see a further correction here. Next up, the EOS, also coming off a big spike. Look at that, below 280, spike to 335, a 55 million profit on a trade for a single ship, where you invested 280 or even less than that. Not bad at all. Obviously the correction is not uniform either, but you can already see it coming back down towards 295. Close to 285, I would say you're looking at a good price. 288.7 for buyers. Not bad. Maybe if you have quite a bit of patience, you can risk 1 or 2 buy orders. But yeah, this is why I do like these Tech 2 ships for trading. The Guardian was in buy order territory, I think, and it still seems to be way below 130. Sellers have gone back up 130, but buyers 125.5. If you look at these spikes and the 6-month chart, this is definitely in a nice situation for you to buy. And look at the previous opportunity, buying close to 125, a big spike of selling up to 170. Not bad at all. Yeah, the Guardian for your consideration. Next up, the Nighthawk is clearly working on its spike at the moment. With a high of 265 after coming down to 245. So here you can clearly see several spike ups from 225 to 245. Held on for a little bit there, then up to 265, corrected back to 245, and now again at 260, 265. So this is that opportunity that I'm talking about when it comes to the Tech 2 market for trading. Let's have a look at the Sleipnir then. Also, you can clearly see the spikes, I think, but it's just not the time to buy at the moment. I'd be trying to sell Sleipnirs. And then the Vulture, same situation. In fact, it tried another spike towards 320, corrected back to, and at the moment we're looking at 300 million. Investment worthy is obviously below 250 or something like that, if you look at like the last 3 months or so. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting market. You can see the opportunities. A lot of them are actually pretty high at the moment. So yeah, the investment opportunities are pretty much over, but I think the Guardian is definitely there. Next up, Tech 3 market then, and I'm writing down 2220 for that. Let's have a look here at the Legion. Tech 3 market has been oversupplied for quite a little bit, so it's really on the 1-month chart where you're gonna have an idea of whether or not this is ending. But yeah, Legion still holding at just above 118 million ISK. Yeah, 119 for the sellers, and still 24, 38, 19 of them coming in. People are trying to buy them for as low as 116, 115 here. Oversupplied, and it's not ending anytime soon. I thought at 125 that maybe that was a price people were hesitant to go below, but obviously I was wrong. Even below 190, a lot of Legions still coming in. Next up, the Loki on the chart, yeah, just also going down 121 here. Sellers 122, but with 10 and 41 of them coming in, and then people point wanting each other with 6, 7 and 2. Lokis, it's just, there's just way too much of that, and on the buy order side you're not seeing these numbers at all. Proteus, here a little bit of a dry up, so this might have just spiked up a little bit. Well, it tries, it really tries from 125.5, little spike up to 127, but it's already coming back, and now it's actually 135. So someone bought a huge amount of Proteuses, I think. Someone made a fleet here, probably a Gnostic Alliance. We will see some of them try to come in to slow down this downward process again, but I think by next week we'll see this oversupply right back. So this will spike up probably, because 135 is way above the chart at the moment, but again it's going to be short-lived because the Tech 3 market is just way oversupplied. But yeah, maybe if you have some Proteus laying around, small opportunity to sell them at probably 130 or something like that. Next up, the Tengu, 127, 134. Yeah, trying a little bit of a spike up here. Unfortunately, bad news is here straight away. 30 and 12 of them coming in right away at 134. Again, this competition right here in the sell orders is here with big numbers, so I think it's gonna be short-lived here for the Tengu. Basically, the Tengu is where the Proteus is going to be in a few days. There's nowhere near these numbers on the buy order side. Just Tech 3 market it's way oversupplied. It's that simple. That's the situation for it. It's been like that for like a year. If you take a look at the 1 year chart for the Tengu coming from 185 and now here with the low of 125, it's trying a little bit to go back up, but it's just not helping. This is probably a low point as well, because before that Tech Tree ships have been going down for way longer than just 1 year. So yeah, it's just a situation, an oversupplied market. Demand is not there for Tech Tree ships. Unless CCP decides to finally rebalance them, situation won't change anytime soon. And then finally for the extra material, 25 for that seems okay. I want to check the POS labs because and I actually have to go for structures, star-based structures, because CCP has decided not to do the stacking bonus with the Cryos release. So at first CCP has said, well, if you have like 8 or 9 small ship assembly arrays or labs of the same type, then you would get a discount to your job installation cost. Now it seems that mostly due to the POS code being such a clusterfuck at the moment, they just can't implement this without people being able to completely abuse the system, or at least get rid of all the extra risk that you're supposed to take for this bonus price. So you can just online 9 arrays of the same type, put all your jobs in a single one at a discount, then offline 8 of them, bring them back to your station, and there you go, you've got the jobs running at with the discount, but with no risk involved whatsoever. In fact, nothing is going to stop you from them also installing 9 or 12 medium assembly arrays, doing the same thing again and again and again. It's an extremely tedious process, but if it's the most efficient and the most risk-free, well, people are going to do it. That's just the nature of people. If they can take an advantage like this, just because of some extra effort, even if it's very tedious or boring, they're just gonna do it. But of course this was announced that at first they were going to do this like maybe a month ago or so. Now they just announced in a forum post, it's a little bit sneaky and stealthily, that they're not going to do it. So what I would expect is to see stuff like the mobile laboratory to have gone down. Let's see if there's a reaction on this. Actually here, advanced mobile laboratory, nope, not really seeing a reaction here. It's holding pretty steady. It's been steady for the entire month. Well, maybe if you look at this here, it did go up from 70 to 77 million. But if I look at a 6-month chart, this is actually part of a longer, pretty much a stable period here. So no, I'm not seeing the movement that I was expecting. Drug lab down, but if you look at the 1 month, 35 million to 35 million, pretty much flat. Experimental, again flat. Hiyasioda mobile laboratory, again, I mean, it went up maybe on the announcement. Here it's correcting back, but it's not like it's really going way down. Well, actually this, look at that, 220 from to 320, that's not insignificant. I would have expected more of a reaction here. Maybe just, well, actually no, it would have had to react in like the last few days or so. So maybe it's a little bit delayed, but I'm just not seeing it. And then the mobile lab here as well. Well, it went up quite sharply and now it's correcting back towards 55 million. It's normal price. Let's have a look here. 61.55 for the buyers. Yeah, it all looks pretty normal. And I'm a little bit surprised by that. Let's have maybe a look at an equipment assembly array. Yeah, look at that. Flat people just don't seem to really have much of an impact. Don't see much of an impact to the Cryos release, to the post setups. Maybe here, yeah, medium ship assembly array down a little bit. I think medium ships was the category where you could really get the biggest discount, so maybe that's why this is reacting a little bit. Is it as low as 50 million here? No, still 60 million for the sellers, 55 for the buyers. So honestly, this is going to flatten back out here, maybe a little bit lower than the consensus price, but back pretty much at the price point of a month ago. Let's have small ship one here. In fact, this one is going up. So yeah, this is unexpected. But I'm not seeing a reaction in the assembly arrays and in the mobile labs for POSes when it comes to the announcement by CCP that they would not allow for a stacking bonus to remain in the Cryos release. Just because, well, I guess that they might have listened to my post. People are just going to work their way around the risk that this would involve, that would be needed for the reward to be received. And if CCP can't fix that, well, then it's, I think, personally, I think it's best to just scrape it and allow for people to have basically one boss with one of every module where they can do everything, and have those be targets for wars and stuff like that. So yeah, plex is unfortunately, guys, extremely high at the moment. There's not a lot I can do, but if I would be looking at the investments, I would be looking at some of those nullsec minerals and not at plexes at the moment, because honestly, if you look at this 1 year chart and this tail end here, that's bubbly behavior. That's reminiscent of what used to happen right before a winter expansion. So maybe, yeah, Cry's release, final leg up, who knows? That would be my guess at the moment. Is I have to wait and see, because I don't really dare to give you guys any expectations for the plex market. It's beaten my expectations for well, since the winter release already, so hard to say what it's going to do, but reaching 800 million, not insignificant either. Anyways, that's it for this EVE Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.